Okay, I'm going to show you a very quick demo of how to develop your composition quickly. This is a student's drawing. I have some issues with it because there just really isn't perspective. Even though you've got these asteroids or meteors going back and getting smaller, this figure feels too small. This looks like a football rather than a jellyfish, which is, I think, what it's supposed to be, like a nebula. The proximity of these isn't telling a compelling story. It's not basically working. You know, you usually want like an S-curve that brings you down to the most important item in the picture. So I really want to rethink this, but I don't want to redraw and redraw and redraw. I just want to get this concept so that I can see what I'm looking for. So the first thing that I did was I drew these things on tracing paper. And you can see that it's very transparent. If I put it down on something, I can see through it really well. Now, the next step is to move everything around until I feel like it's compelling. Like Julius didn't have this going straight down. He had it going off to the side or off like this, and then these things were swirling off. So, you know, I don't know exactly how he wants to compose it, but I'm giving you guys an idea. You know, I felt like the figure needed to be a little bit bigger. I don't know if the most important thing in this composition is the figure or the nebula and the asteroids coming towards this. I don't know if he's on Earth or if he's on an asteroid himself. So these are questions that you need to ask yourself as you compose. So I just decided to go ahead and set up a composition that I believe works. I also decided that we needed some sort of source of light. Where is the light coming from? Where will I highlight? And, you know, this is really important to think about. If it's sun, it's going to be much brighter here on the edge. If it's moonlight, this is going to be a softer edge. But you're going to have, you know, this shadowing. Even in a sketch, you want to give an idea of what's happening with the object. Lines don't tell you the story. This thing is real dark. It hangs down in the middle of a jellyfish. Not that you have to have it, but it makes the item more interesting. And it's going to be darker on one side and lighter on the other. So go in dark and give a quick feel of how that is going to work. Now, if the moon is up here, it does cast light down probably on the back half of this skeleton. It will really highlight the hand because the hand is the thing that's extended the most. It's catching direct light. This is getting diffused light. The back is getting diffused light, but the hand is getting the most light. So spotlight the hand if that's the most important thing. If it's not, then adjust everything. But this is going to be your light surface. This is all going to be dark. And your darkening of spaces gives the dimension to things. This would be a little lighter. This would be darker if that's a hole that's going into. You know, think about how you are building the shape and the form. This could be a ridge that goes underneath. You know, see how quickly it starts taking some shape if you get away from lines. I did lines just to give me an idea of where I wanted everything, but you get rid of those lines. They go away. They've got to go away because otherwise you're doing a line drawing, not an observational shape and form drawing. So, you know, really think about what is this shadowing doing for you? Is it creating mass? Is it creating form? Is it telling about the light source? You know, this would all be darker down here, you know, and I'm getting into a sketch that's not even going to be permanent. Okay, so I'm done with that. I'm going to try to place things better, figure out what I like. I didn't really like where he was. He needed to be down lower, or she, whichever. This figure needs to be lower. So I didn't feel like this was working. I didn't feel like that was working. I'm going to try playing around a little bit more, moving things a little bit more, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to move on to the next step. The next step would be either doing a final drawing of your sketch by drawing the lines on the back of the original transfer paper drawing, and then you would lay that on your paper. And let me just show you. If I trace this, let's say I wanted them to be pointing in the other direction, I could then go back over this and it's going to give me the basic lines to get started with. Do you see how this works? And that saves me the time because now I've transferred this on just by tracing on the back side, turning it over and drawing on top. Okay, so I came up with a composition that I thought was okay. The next step is to take some charcoal and draw on the back. I don't know if you can see where I put the charcoal, but I held it up to the light on a window, and I'm actually going to erase this. I just wanted to make sure that it was transferring before I demonstrated to you all. So I'm going to take this, and I'm still not 100% happy with the way this is transferred. So I'm going to adjust it again a little bit more, but I feel like this particular composition could be stronger if it were on a black paper, and that's something I talked about in Zoom today. Whoops, I meant to do this. So I've got white chalk on the back of the paper, and this is really just to give me the basics of my drawing. I'm still going to have to go in and do all the work, but the idea is that I've saved myself the time of having to redraw and redraw. Now this leg came out, it has a kneecap, it goes down, and then it's got the foot. And notice when you draw this, Julius, you've got, oops, that actually is going to go over there. This knee was bent. The bones in the hands and the feet are very complicated. I sent you some sketches, so that, or some images in an email, I think, to show you how you can build the hand and the form of a skeleton. There are many, many, many bones. It's not simple. So I'm just trying to get the basic drawing down. You can scribble it like this, or you can do very simple lines, but it's better to do the lines because then you actually get the drawing. I scribbled a bit so you can see what happens if you're in a really big hurry, which hopefully you won't be. And remember that the moon is shaped very much like an asteroid with all the little moon rocks. Okay, so there I have a transferred piece. Oops, I didn't want this to be here. So now I can go in